Fala galera do YouTube, meus camaradas, Wladnator de volta. Vamos aqui jogar mais uma partidinha de basquete e provavelmente vou levar mais uma pizza. Mas não tem problema. Eu já falei pra vocês o quanto é lindo o gráfico desse jogo, tá louco, cara. Toda vez que eu jogo eu fico impressionado. E olha que essa é a primeira safra de jogo, né? Imagina daqui a um tempo, esse negócio vai estar impressionante demais, hein? Vamos lá, LeBron. Show de bola demais, cara. Tu é louco.
You know, one of his other qualities, Steve, is how quickly he starts to break. I mean, he doesn't need numbers either. He can be a coast-to-coast, rack-to-rack guy all by himself.
Sei nem que eu sou. Não faz falta, cara. Qual é?
And even the foul, I mean, you can't be wrapping guys up like that. I mean, it
vai,
doesn't
vai.
make any sense. That's a meaningless play.
Into Dia, and that's out of bounds. San Antonio will retain possession.
Yeah, so close to picking that pass off, guys.
At least he got a hand on it. He did what he needed to do to make sure it didn't hit the target.
Here's Parker. And an intentional foul.
Esses bichos não sabem jogar não, eles só sabem fazer falta. Olha, meu camarada, pô. Opa, pai. E maluco! Caraca, quase dá certo. Para esse cara, bicho. Isso não foi falta, pô.
And back to coach Eric Spoelstra as a guy who got his start as a video coordinator. Picking the game apart.
Esse cara tá com olho de peixe morto.
The new advanced stat movement analytics in the NBA.
Yeah, and I've had a chance to speak with him quite a bit. He says that
Bora,
the way
Bellinelli.
advanced stats is just as
vai errar, papai. Psica da velha Chica pra ti. Vai. Agora vai. Vai errar. Alô, meu jovem. Mais um aí. Erra mais um. Vai. Tá esperando quem? Vai errar mais uma. Cabra bom! Opa, pai! Ah! Que droga! Toma, tipo. É que esse bicho é muito bruto.
Miami found a way, despite being pushed by the Pacers and being pushed by the Spurs.
Maluco!
Game 7.
Ai, meu Deus!
LeBron James is brilliant, but also the hot shooting of a complimentary role-playing winner, Shane Battier.
Maluco!
And out of bounds as San Antonio gains possession.
Papai, que tu tá fumando, tu tá louco. Ei, mas esse bicho é muito violento, caramba. Ah! Erra aí, erra. Errou. Aí. Esse bicho é bom.
And Clark, you mentioned the penetration ability of Tony Parker. He really has become the focal point of the Spurs drive and kickoff.
Égua do maldito, ele não erra nada. Isso aí. Uau! Que... Meu Deus do céu, esse bicho tá louco.
It's incredible how well-rounded Parker has become.
Is he the fastest point guard you think in the NBA?
Pô, botou o carequinha aí e já era, mano. O bicho não erra nada.
Well, he was somebody you didn't want to put at the line a year ago. He made 85% of his attempts.
You know, he really did excel at the stripe. I mean, they couldn't have asked for too much more from him when it came to knocking down free throws.
The first free throw was good.
Esse bicho aí, papai, já era pra mim.
Tony Parker, and he's found something else to add to
Não erra nada.
He's always improving.
Errou.
And he makes both
Égua. Errou uma ova.
The last season for Tony Parker, arguably his best ever. 20 points a game, almost 8 assists, 52% Steve.
Égua, esses bichos desse time são tudo maluco.
His ability to score inside around the rim is amazing, but he's also become a master of knocking down the jump shot from that 15 to 18-foot range. But really, this team has been built now around Parker. Their offensive strategy completely tailored to suit.
Vamos lá ver se tá bom.
The first one falls.
Égua, moleque, vou.
Well, you know, Tim Duncan
Levar o Farelo só no lance livre.
He knows every play in their playbook. Front to back,
Aí,
position 1 through 5.
muito bem.
I think he could coach the team if he had to.
Anderson, he's checked in for Chris Bosh.
Pô, esses caras estão com algum problema. Ai.
And he commits the intentional
Oi.
foul.
Caraca.
And for Duncan,
Eles estão com problema, eu tô com problema também, que eu tenho que aprender a jogar.
veteran leadership, such a huge
Que
part of their success.
Well, when
maluquice.
you have the same coach and the same core of star players over almost 2 decades, that's pretty remarkable. That continuity is exactly what gives the
Ah, falar, o cara se
sustained
empolgou.
success that they've enjoyed for such a long period.
And he sinks
Ay.
the second.
You know, the Spurs really have a cohesive culture, and part of that is something that Greg Popovich has been able to do, and that's being able to join guys together that
Pega esses
normally
caras
don't hang out.
Pô!
You had Matt Bonner taking Steven Jackson out to a Coldplay concert last season. One way to help guys get to know each other off the court, and it helps them on the court.
And let's get this update now from
Sorte
Doris
quanto é louco
across
também.
the way on the sideline.
Well, Kevin, Greg Popovich had a few moments to share with me. We talked about the strategy as it applies to D-Wade. He said Dwayne can score at will when he gets into a rhythm. So our job is going to be prevent him from getting into that rhythm in the first place. Because if we can't do that, the points will just pile up. Most opponents are completely aware of that, guys.
Great.
Aí.
Thanks for the report, Doris.
Que fim.
Popovich and the Spurs, he really makes a point of getting to
Coisa
know his
linda.
players and have them get to know one another.
That's right, Kevin. He likes to have his players have a sense of perspective about the world. He wants them to know that there are other things going
Égua,
on
esse
besides
cara
the
parece o
NBA.
último dos
Back in
moicanos.
2012, he had the players watching the presidential debates together.
Ah, jovem. Pô,
Talking about Chris Anderson, guys, the Birdman. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to fly last season, but he did latch on with a very good Miami Heat team who was in need of some help rebounding,
não.
which is his strength. He
Não é
still
pra
can
fazer
do that
falta.
and
Pô,
block
tu já tá
shots as well.
perdendo, cara.
And the Birdman, a fan favorite from his days in Denver. The tattoos, his kinetic style of play, certainly drawing attention.
Well, he's an athletic presence inside at both ends of the floor. Defensively, he can slide his feet and block shots.
Ai, não
And
erra
offensively,
nada.
He's a guy who kind of hangs out on the weak side and finishes plays by catching and dunking.
Agora errou.
And
Ah!
hits both.
Esquece.
Guys, you go back to the shortened season a year before last, and the Spurs were the best team on the road.
Opa.
Last year, they were nearly
Aí.
as dominant on the road.
Wh-
Still
whoops.
solid when leaving San Antonio, but far from the level they played at a couple of seasons.
Aí, meu garoto, você é o cara.
Win the ball in rhythm, nice play.
Anderson's gotten 2 of his 3 shots to go tonight. Here's Parker,
Ei,
and that one's
por aqui eu
good.
fui falar.
Parker's got 9.
Well, they just gave him 2 points. Defensively, you're going to have to tighten things
Ih,
up.
rapaz, que isso?
Good sign.
Ô, baby.
James kicks to Wade. Here's Battier
Alô. Ah!
with a triple. And for the Spurs on the road last season, they would still win 23.
Eita, mas aqui é só time de violento, né? Tá
22, Steve, they won in the
12 a 4,
season. They also
tá
lost
fraco.
more as well.
Well, for the Spurs, Kevin, I think they did what they needed to do. You know, the Spurs manage the regular season. They know when to turn it on and when they can maybe relax a little bit. But the big thing is they just want to stay near 500 on the road, protect their home court, and be healthy going into the playoffs, and that puts them in a good position.
They're showing that they're the aggressors. I mean, doing a good job of drawing fouls,
aí, brother.
foul line, attacking the paint area.
All free throws from Bellinelli, and being aggressive has built them a solid lead.
Yeah, I typically think the spoils
Bellinelli.
always go to the team that's been most aggressive, Kevin. I mean, people will talk about getting a bad whistle, but when you're an aggressive team and you're attacking the basket, you put the onus on the officials to make calls, and that's what they're doing.
And Miami calls their first time out of the game. New group in for the Heat. Chris Bosh is checked in for Anderson. Oden comes in for Shane Battier. Michael Beasley, he's checked in for Dwayne Wade. And Cole subbed in for Tony Douglas.
Pega a bola, maluco! Ah!
And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
Well, for the Heat, they've really struggled against Parker.
Already up to 9 points, and he's knocked down 5 shots at the charity strike.
Pega, não, tem que aprender a jogar. Pelo amor de Deus, pegando pisa aqui.
That's been important.
O BO.
They needed some points. He's provided some easy ones at the foul line, so he's making an impact here.
You see the early fouls here? They're having an impact so far.
And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. And Clark, you're right, the early fouls contributing to the deficit here in the first.
Yeah, I don't think they're moving their feet well enough, Kevin. I mean, when you foul, you're typically out of position and you're late, so they've got to anticipate better.
Esse bicho só faz toque errado.
Stop reusing your hand.
I've seen that too. Kept alive. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact and he'll shoot 2.
Égua, seu juiz, pelo amor de Deus, papai, é 30-0.
And a good call by the official.
Hey guys, what do you think about the offensive approach we've seen so far for the
Toma, de sorte que botaram um cara ruim aí.
They've been spending at the foul line so far, guys. They'll take those points all game long if they can get them.
Yeah, and I've noticed also that their quick hands have led to a lot of forced turnovers. They're getting some points in transition as a result.
Errou.
And the second good.
Only 3 teams in the entire Eastern Conference had a better than 500 record against the West, and no surprise the Heat were one of those 3, and they were dominant against Western Conference opponents all year long.
Feeds it to Cole. Here's LeBron.
Bora ver se tu é bom. Ai!
And Michael Beasley picks up the foul.
Eco, meu amigo. Caraca, é falta o jogo todo.
Clark, adding on to what you were saying about the Heat versus the West, they ended up 25-5, which is incredible, Steve, given how many tough teams.
Esse maldito não erra uma.
That's amazing, Kevin. They had a better record against the West than they did against the East in terms of their winning percentage. So I think that speaks to just how motivated Miami was when they were on the road to the
Pega, o
West,
bicho não erra uma.
to really show everybody how good they were. And what an amazing run it was for the Spurs last year.
Toma, de papai. Pensando o quê, rapaz? Aqui também tem homem.
And then dismantled Memphis on their way to the NBA Finals, and then of course we're seconds away from another championship anthem.
And Greg Oden gets the whistle.
Égua, meu amigo, tu é doido, eu não faço um lance se não fazer falta. Ai!
getting back to the Spurs, they look better and better as they went deeper into the playoffs, Clark. Heat were thought to be the heavy favorites at the start of the NBA.
Ai, já era.
And in the finals, thoughts on who would win, I think, were pretty much split.
Yeah, and eventually, you know, this was one heck of a series because the Spurs not only had experience,
Caraca!
they had multiple options offensively. They did such a terrific job sharing the ball. They took the Miami Heat to the limit, but at the end of the day, it came down to LeBron James.
Que pisa, tu é louco.
Rising to the challenge.
The Heat trail by 17. Stolen by Ginobili. And now in transition is Mills. Here we go. And Kawhi.
Pai d'égua, pelo menos eu tô dando show aqui pra vocês no outro time.
Cole dishes to Bosh.
Faz a cesta, papai! Ei, coisa linda! Ai, ai, ai. Não tem jeito, cara. Tu é louco. Esses bichos aí são muito brutos. Errou. Errou pra caramba.
And how crazy is that from the Heat to win as many games as they did last season, but still be second in the league in home wins? Still, we're far and away number one in the East.
Well, yeah, the Knicks were the closest team in the East.
Não erra nada.
They still had 6 fewer wins.
Eu tô pegando as manhas. Trocou. Tocou pro outro. Aí. Ai, tu é maluco. Ai.
In terms of rebounding, it's been a sensational opening quarter.
I like sensational. That's a good word for it.
Leonard, and he makes good on that.
Égua, pelo menos, pô. O outro time tá mostrando pra gente como é que joga basquete.
You're exactly right. And to battle
Opa.
back, you got to shore that defense up, Steve.
É, mas eu insisto nessa.
Spurs leading by 21. Leonard attacking, and he drops in the layup off the glass.
Eu também.
Leonard's got 8.
These defenders are
31 a 8 é.
on the interior. It's been embarrassing.
Tem que respeitar, mano. Sou ruim.
Allowed in the lane.
And that's not the kind of streak you want.
Que isso, papai?
Playing defense.
And that's out of bounds. Miami.
Cara, são tão bruto que não deixam nem eu jogar.
There's 47 seconds left in the first quarter.
Égua, não, LeBron, porra, palma em cima, cara.
He can't get anything to go.
Mills gets the screen from bottom. And there's an intentional foul, but
Tava faltando, tava demorando. Égua, mãe, uma falta atrás da outra, vai ser 50-0.
The more you watch Kawhi Leonard play, the more you realize that he is the perfect fit for the Spurs. I mean, he just looks like a Spur, and he's only been in the league a couple of years. Plays great defense, shoots from deep at a high rate, and really knows, accepts, and embraces his role on the team.
And back to Kawhi Leonard. Coach Popovich sees him
Alô? Aí. Tudo bem, garoto. Alô, eu sabia que você ia errar. Toca a bola aí, jovem. Toca pra ele. Toca pro outro. Terra, pelo amor de Deus. Os caras vão me matar. Ai, Jesus. Que isso, camarada? Pra que essa violência? É, tá sendo um show do outro time. Ei, como esse meu time vai me matar de vergonha. Ai, não deixa. Caramba. Vai lá, não vai perder. Ai! Que isso, meu amigo? Primeiro tempo 36-8, será?
Welcome back, everyone. A lopsided first quarter in the books already as we start this second quarter. And a comfortable margin for the Spurs here, guys.
Well, the thing they tried to establish right away was the presence down low. You look at the points in the paint. I think that's been the difference.
Yeah, and I like the fact, Steve, that they're not settling for the outside shots. I mean, go in there and get what you want. Keep attacking the rim.
É com esse bicho, pelo amor de Deus. Sorte que foi falta. Olha lá. Aê. O último dos moicanos.
But even coming off an NBA title, they had never put their name into the conversation of the great teams until last spring when they went on that amazing 27-game winning streak.
Não, foi só falar bem que tu erra, é?
And for the Heat, they were staring right at the 72 Lakers win record, and I'm sure everyone remembers, but ultimately...
Ô, papai, você é o cara! Só falta acertar agora. Égua! Ai! Isso! Entregar essa derrota tão fácil também não. Não, mas que isso? Eu não mandei tu fazer isso, tá fazendo só agora, hein? Violento.
It's Parker with the drive. Good. Parker's got 15.
É, mas é assim que se joga basquete.
Points have been coming today from the low post.
And even under pressure in tight, they've maintained their concentration and converted their opportunities.
Como é que não?
And an intentional foul.
Toma. Isso não é futebol americano, cara. Vai. Tá muito brabo.
And we're about a minute into the second quarter of play, and that one's good. Parker.
He's played an important role in their offense today, guys. Without him, they may not be in the lead.
And Miami shooting a rough 22% so far in this one. It's
Ai, tentando aprender os passes aqui, tô só me dando mal.
Here is Parker. 17 points in the game. And San Antonio calls
the
first time out of the game. Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Well, Kevin, almost an unbelievable stat, but back in 2007, LeBron finished the season shooting almost 48% from the field. Since then, he's improved his field goal percentage every single season for 6 straight years.
O LeBron, tu não fez uma ainda, cara.
Over 56%. A lot of that has been his dedication to playing closer to the basket. LeBron famously said of posting up, quote, "There's nothing fun about it." But since he's made that commitment, Coach Spoelstra said, quote, "He has completely transformed himself as a basketball player. And in the process, he has completely transformed us." 2 titles back it up, Kevin.
That's why he's a champion, Doris. Thanks.
Yeah, such an amazing talent. He impacts the game in every way.
Vamos lá. Agora vai. Mostrando aqui pra galera como é que se pega uma pizza. Eu vou ter que melhorar nesse jogo, pô. Vamos lá, jovem. Ih, faz aí tua firula.
Miami on defense. A floater. Here's Dion. And
não!
Working on the glass, paying off that time.
They've shown effort and aggression in the paint right from the tip. Their rebounding edge is impressive.
And I'll tell you what, they've turned a lot of those rebounds into points at the other end.
Boris Diaw from France, a unique player. I mean, he came into the league, guys, as more of a playmaking small forward. Now he plays at the power forward spot.
Melhor fazer falta fora da área, né?
Than he is a scorer.
And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
Well, guys, I was able to listen in on what Eric Spoelstra was going over with his team in that last huddle. There was no question what he was most concerned about.
Ô, papai! Isso aí, meu jovem.
That's the priority, quote unquote. He then added a message about getting physical, playing with energy, saying, quote, "Let's make sure we're the ones dictating the way this game is played."
Vai pra trás do cara.
I'm sure coach is hoping those changes turn the tide in this game and shrink the deficit before halftime.
Ai, meu Deus. Vai lá, papai, erra. Errou. Não, esse não erra nada. Este é o cara. Errou. Ah, erra pra caramba.
He's really a great basketball player. What I mean by that, just he knows angles, he knows how to use his body to create passes and shots for himself. And defensively, he's very effective, particularly.
Ei, mas não faz uma.
Spurs have gone 50% from the floor in the second quarter, 3 of 6. Parker with it. Wade picks him up. And Ray Allen gets the whistle that time. So that will be his second foul of the game. We're in the bonus and we'll go.
Caraca, essa aqui eu passei vergonha mesmo. Ai, ai. Ah, sorte que botaram o cara ruim. Olha lá, meu jovem. Ah. Pensando que ele erra, mas... Pô, LeBron, tudo apareceu, cara. Ai! É como a sorte não tá a meu favor.
And the whistle blows. He decides to foul intentionally for some reason.
I'm not sure why you would foul right there. I mean, that's obviously not the smart thing to do. So a mistake there.
Isso aí. Não sei por que ele fez a falta ali, tá? Isso aí é antiesportivo. Nada, isso é ruindade mesmo.
Second closest were the Lakers.
Ai.
12 straight, Steve, from 79 to 91.
Yeah, 58
porrada
wins
mesmo.
for San Antonio. Greg Popovich calls it
Foi isso?
knowledge, just the consistency that comes with the experience of the group.
Até quando eu pego a bola as coisas não estão a meu favor, caraca.
That I think it allows the Spurs to really kind of cruise at times during the regular season.
Parker passes to Bellinelli. In low to Duncan. Lays it up and in off the pretty assist.
Tá louco.
Pass work there, getting it down low for the easy deuce.
For Miami, they've gone 2 of 6 from the field in the second quarter so far. Battier missing again.
Bicho, esses bichos tudo tomaram açaí com farinha, não estão jogando nada. Então vamos fingir que eu sou de preto aqui, porque o de branco tá muito ruim.
Point blank shots every time down.
Now here's Wade. Back to LeBron.
Aí, jovem. Tava falando mal de ti. Apareceu. Cara, meu irmão.
Absolutely soar in for the finish. I remember last year the alley-oop in the conference finals against Indiana.
Que isso, maluco, saiu com a bola.
Air freight is a nickname we could dub LeBron James. I mean, he's an unstoppable force and an immovable object. Defensively, the strength, length, mobility. He can wall you up and lock you down and put you away.
Bonner, he's checked in for San Antonio. LeBron with it. He's picked up by Parker. Here's Anderson. Good.
Aí, égua, mas também, porra.
Anderson's got 7 points.
Cada lance bonito. Vamos respeitar. Para o cara. Aí, papai. Esse cara é bruto. Ai, 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 ai. Eita, cansado. Começou a errar. Errou. Não. Tô estranhando ele errar uma.
Both ends of the floor. I mean, there's a lot of great defensive players who could guard everybody. You know, Scottie Pippen or Dennis Rodman. Offensively, Magic Johnson could play any position he wanted, but to be able to do so with both ends is what separates LeBron James.
O LeBron é bruto também pra caramba, hein?
So that will be his second foul of the game. We're in the bonus, and we'll go to the line to shoot 2. 2 shots.
Bora ver, tá? Esse é o cara bom, né? Olha lá, jovem.
A free throw drops for Leonard.
Well, Kawhi Leonard taken 15th overall.
Tem espaço para mais aí.
Believe it or not, he's the Spurs' highest drafted rookie since they took Tim Duncan #1 overall back in '97. It just shows you the legacy of the Spurs' success over the years.
Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you
Como esse bicho é muito fraco.
Popovich received a $250,000 fine from the league for sitting out his starters in that game against Miami. They cracked down, but it wasn't the first time.
Louco, velho, que eu tô pegando uma sova de lance livre. É pênalti, 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 um atrás do outro. Tonte. Esse aí não perde uma. Opa, falando nele. Tá, mesmo na hora que eu quero fazer um negócio bonito.
It certainly is. Thank you, Doris. And now they decide to foul intentionally. And going back to Kawhi Leonard, 9 minutes in Coach Popovich's rotation.
Isso é um show de lance livre aqui.
Part of the reason he did, he's got great versatility defensively primarily, but he's a quick learner, a quick study, understands things, doesn't take long to pick things up, and when you're a first-year player, that can separate you from a lot of guys and get you in the rotation, especially with a veteran team like the Spurs.
Greg Oden, he's checked in for the Heat. For San Antonio, they've gone 5 of 8 from the floor here in the second quarter, over 60%.
De novo, mas oh meu Deus do céu, vira piada. Jogo que teve mais lance livre em toda a história da NBA. Ai!
And for Oden, a new start in the NBA, the former #1 overall pick out of Ohio State back in 2007 for the Portland Trail
Blazers. Mas não dá nada certo pra mim.
Repeated knee injuries that kept Oden from achieving all that he'd hoped for in Portland, but he just hoped that he would.
Pô, eu já tinha visto lance livre em um jogo, mas esse aqui aí bateu todos os recordes da história da NBA.
That one misses.
Está cansado.
Well, this is a really critical possession here, Kevin. It's essential that they put a stop to this run.
Wade can't hit.
Boy, I tell you what, the complexion of this game would be completely different if he shot the ball anything like he's capable of.
Free throw good, Mills.
Cara, é um lance, 2 pontos dele aqui. Se eles não fazem enterrada, eles fazem 2 lances livres, pelo amor de Deus.
And both free throws good for Mills.
Esse bicho aí tá descansado. Ele não erra.
40 seconds left in the first half. Here's Wade.
Ai, papai! Fala, meu camarada, que coisa linda. Toma, tio. E rapaz, tu tá jogando basquete, cara. Tu não tá jogando futebol americano, maldito. Ah, já descansou. Ei. Foi tão ruim não, 63.
Miami's gone 0-2 from deep here in the second. 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Beasley for 3.
Ai!
Antonio with the rebound. Leonard's got 4 rebounds in this game. And Mills kicks to Parker. And so they foul intentionally.
Até quando eu não mando, os caras estão fazendo falta. Isso aí que são os caras bem mandados.
And he makes the first.
Galera, vamos fingir que eu sou de preto aí. Que tá muito feia a situação. Beleza.
Beasley with it. He's been patient so far, nothing yet on the scoreboard. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Spurs will take it.
You know, unless a pass of that distance hits you squarely in the
head. Esse brother é meio desprovido na beleza, né? Mas tudo bem. E para terminar, lance livre. Galera, não esqueçam de assinar o canal se vocês querem ver mais umas presepadas como essa daqui. Pisa no basquete do cara ruim pra caramba. Falou? Opa, então agora vamos pro desespero de novo.
Wade for three.
Uou! Droga, dessa vez não teve cesta épica. Galera, assinem o canal aí, curtam o vídeo, compartilhem. Um abraço. Falou!
Well, Pop, a solid halftime lead here. How were you able to keep their offensive firepower in check so well in that second quarter?
I thought missed a couple of shots. They missed some easy shots. So they helped us a great deal. So we were pretty fortunate that quarter.
Pop, thanks for the time. Guys?
Thank you so much, Doris. Great interview as always. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back with the second half of basketball shortly.
Now, presented by Sprint.
And now the Sunday night edition of the halftime show. San Antonio on top against the Heat over at American Airlines Arena. They've been very focused on the defensive end, generating steals, showing a high-level activity and aggression defensively. Tony Parker making a statement in this one. He has 24 points and also has been a factor with his rebounding. For the Heat, they haven't had the same luck. Turnovers, something this team always struggles with, and it's been a problem again. Getting it done early, D. Wade. He's picked up 4 points and has also grabbed a couple rebounds. And that's it for now. Thanks for stopping in with us. It's time to head back to Kevin Harlan, Steve Kerr, Clark Kellogg, and Doris Burke, who are all ready with the call in the second half.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
A magnificent view of glowing high-rises in downtown Miami as we welcome you back. It's been a clinic from Tony Parker.
Well, his ability to disrupt passes and get a hand on the ball, force a turnover, make a steal, it's been really impressive.
When he defends you, he basically forces you to play perfect. Any lapse of concentration, and he'll pick your pocket.